On this episode of Rogue Creators, we are talking about
sales funnels, how to look at them differently, and why you need one.
Absolutely, because the bottom line matters, right?
It does.
And Melissa Berrios is with us today, and she is going to break it down for us in the best way. So let's do this.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back to Rogue Creators, presented by Go RogueX. My name is Bryan Fittin.
And I'm Loren Lewis.
And this is the podcast dedicated to marketers and creators who are wanting to serve first and stand out from the crowd. Make sure that you subscribe every single week, YouTube, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, to get all of the tools and resources you need to be the go-to name in your industry. Let's go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Rogue Creators. We're super excited to be back and talking. We've kind of started focusing a lot of conversations around sales and, content marketing, how that works in the sales funnel. So we're super excited to have Melissa Berrios with us today on the show. How's it going, Melissa?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're very excited to chat with you. Really, I mean, in the marketing space, but also a sales funnel as well. And so this is going to be a great conversation. Really excited to get into that.
Yes.
But before we do, we like to start off with something fun. What is that, Loren?
We like to start each episode off with, what are you obsessed with this week? So starting with our guest, Melissa, what are you obsessed with this week?
Oh, well, I don't know if it's something that should be a good obsession or a bad obsession, but I'm being obsessed with Facebook ads these days. I'm trying to run an ad for the past 3 days, and it's putting me on my knees right now. So it's a real challenge right now for Facebook ads these days. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been doing for the past 3 days.
Like it's a good obsession and bad obsession, especially when they change everything and things up.
Yeah.
This new update that came out, even some of our software, we use some streaming software, and they're like, "Hey, we've had a little bit of trouble with the new update." And it's like, "Oh, Facebook, just leave things alone. Just leave it alone."
I know. Can you just let it be? We had it. Everything's so perfect now. Everything's changing, but we'll figure it out. It's just that's been my obsession lately, I guess.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, Loren, what about you? What are you obsessed with this week?
So my obsession, we talk a lot about TV shows on here. And so we tried out a new one with my husband, and it was Yellowstone.
Okay. Yeah.
So Yellowstone's on Peacock, and we've just started it, and it is really, really good. I've really enjoyed it. I love the videography in it. It's very good. As well as the score in it is phenomenal. So it just got a really good dramatic feel to it, and it's very well done. So I'm excited tonight to dig into it some more.
Okay. I've heard the first episode is like a little rough, maybe.
It's just the opening scene.
Okay, that's
if you like animals, it's sorry.
No. You gave that disclaimer. There you go. That's
there
good.
you go.
That's good. Past the first few minutes there. Okay, so my obsession is a weird one, like always. Also, we forgot, we need to talk about the blue that we're wearing, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
we should talk
we
about
are
that in just a
wearing
minute. That was just my side note. But the obsession that I have this week is the band Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird. Alex was like, my wife, she was very excited. She was like, you went down this path of like, I always find something I really enjoy, and then like, I dive head first. So now I've like watched some of the documentaries.
Have you watched documentary?
Yeah. There's always got to be a documentary about it. But just like diving into all their old albums, it's like they peaked, in kind of 2005, and I always loved their music. And so anyway, yeah. Well, anybody out there that enjoys the Gorillaz, let's chat, because they had a new album come out in 2020. I didn't even know it. Yeah. And he's got to have Elton John on there and Beck, and there's all kinds of awesome.
I didn't even
artists,
know they were still going.
Oh, strong.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's my I was very excited to talk about it on the podcast too. So that's the way we do this, Melissa. We just get going and we're like,
I can see.
I'm excited. Okay, to talk about this on the podcast. This is great. So anyway, but
very cool.
There's those recommendations.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Bryan, tell us, why are we wearing blue?
Yes. Well, I'm wearing my blue hat.
I'm wearing a blue shirt.
Pretty close. So the Children's Advocacy Center,
Yes.
right, is doing basically a big push for getting awareness out there. So it's a local nonprofit. We've actually worked with them in the past and done some live streaming for them. And so there's a Wear Blue Day. And so we are doing that.
A little early.
But
we're
yes. Trying to kind of time it out to, you'll launch that. So Melissa, we're sorry. We didn't even cue you in on that. You could have been
I'm wearing blue earrings. Does that count?
Yes, totally.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great. Jacob in the studio has a blue jean jacket. That was his contribution to
I was going to wear a blue shirt, but I realized I don't own any. Mostly black shirts. So did what I could.
That's all right. Okay. So, hey, let's dive into this today because we're really excited to talk with you, Melissa. But first, tell us just a little bit about you, about your business. You have a very interesting story. So tell us about that. And also, who you serve in the community that you serve with your business.
So my name is Melissa, and I am the founder of Melissa Berrios Consulting, and its mother company is called Virtualmente Libre LLC. And with Melissa Berrios Consulting, we serve 6 and 7 figure high achieving entrepreneurs to elevate their online presence, delivering a world-class social experience to their audience. Our mission really is to help our clients leverage social platforms and the online marketing tools like email marketing, funnels, all that stuff to build engaged audiences and communities, while also helping them generate qualified leads. With Virtualmente Libre is a community of Latina entrepreneurs, where we teach them how to create an online business and use the online marketing strategies to grow that business. We have a podcast named Virtualmente Libre. It's in Spanish. And we also have a community of maybe it's almost 2,000 women in Facebook. And so with Virtualmente Libre, we also have online courses and digital courses and online programs for them to learn. So it's kind of like we serve two markets in the same company. We have our one-to-one clients where we take care of all the online marketing for them, but then also we have the community.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. I think that's ideal, especially if any company that's obviously offering educational resources or something like that and doing the one-on-one coaching. It's great to see. Obviously, your focus on female entrepreneurs as well. I mean, giving back in that sense, but being able to expand really your reach with that and I'm probably unintentional, but you kind of build out your services from that group. I'm sure that's something.
Yeah,
that
and it really came from a true gap in the business in the Spanish speaking community for learning all the the online world and how the online businesses work and how you can transition your I guess, more brick and mortar business into an online platform, or you can build your own from scratch. There's really a lot out in the market in English, right? For how to build and market and market your business, but not in Spanish that much. And so it kind of evolved organically with people asking me how to do things or what was I even into and what was I doing, and it just everything evolved into the podcast and then the community and what it is now.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love that. And obviously seeing a need in the marketplace, for that and folks needing that resource as well. I think that's great. That you've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is your background, is it in marketing or has it just evolved over time? How did you fall into this space?
Yeah, so my story is unconventional. So I'm gonna try to be a little brief, but I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and this is why I have this deep connection to the Latinas, because it's kind of like what still connects me to my culture and my people, kind of. So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I went to school for engineering. And lived there my first 25 years. Then I moved to the mainland US. after I was done with college to pursue my engineering career. And then I was in engineering. I'm a civil engineer. As I was, pursuing my engineering career, I have my family. I got married. Like my life happened, and as I was growing and going up the corporate ladder in my career, um, I've always been a very creative person, and I've always been into, besides engineering, like arts and singing and doing all kinds of stuff. That always like developed my creative side. But as I was going up in the corporate ladder, my creative side kind of like started dying. And
Yeah.
so, um, in efforts to like, I don't know, kind of feed that again, I discovered blogging. And so as I was like doing my 9 to 5 as an engineer, I started a food and travel blog for me to like document the place, because I love to travel as well and I love eating. And so I was just documenting all my travels. I got into photography and I went down the rabbit hole of like the online space, creating a website, blogging, marketing the blog, marketing, getting into social media, like all this content creation space. And I fell in love with it. But it was my hobby. So I was just doing it. I wasn't making any money off of it or anything, but it was getting traction. Like people, like my family, friends, everybody were like, they were seeing what I was doing and they were reading the articles and I was like really enjoying it. And at some point in my career, like 3 years ago, I had to take a break from my 9 to 5 due to mental health issues that I was having after my second son was born. So I decided to take a break from my 9 to 5 and just stay home with the new baby and get things in order. And um, I kept blogging on, even though I was, at home. I kept blogging and I kept looking at ways that I can um, make an income from home and still like, be used, because working for almost 13 years every day, going off of like the workforce and just being at home, for me it was very hard. So I wanted to create something, get into something and stay busy. So I developed this idea that I could use all the marketing and content creation and all the knowledge that I already developed, because I went down that rabbit hole. Like I took all the courses, I did all the workshops, like I was so into it. And I said somebody can benefit from my help. So I developed this small agency and I started as a VA, just kind of like helping people with all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was getting into, I got one of my clients. She was a business coach, very well known in the Latina community and in Puerto Rico. She has an online business. She has digital courses. Like with her, I learned not only what I was, what I knew how to do, but how to implement it and how it worked backstage in an online business.
Yeah.
And from there, it kind of took off, because after working with her for more than a year, I started getting the referrals and started, creating also my own things. And I was, that created that spark on me, like, oh, I can also do this for myself, not just help people build an online business, but I can also create my own and have my own products. And it just kind of evolved from there and it's what it is right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the summary um, of my story. I'm an engineer.
Yeah. No, I love that. You're the definition of a rogue creator, because that's our company Go Rogue was basically
Mhm.
founded on my idea of leaving the corporate world and going rogue and doing your own thing. And so it's really cool to hear that. It's actually similar to my story. I am not a civil engineer. I'm not that smart. But kind of having a side hustle and learning about the marketing world and then starting to implement it and things working and then being able to help other people out as well. It's just awesome to see that community that you're helping as well that needs it, obviously, and that's great that you're doing that. And so it's very cool story and very inspiring too. So especially for out there who are trying to do that same thing. We have a lot of listeners that we know of too that have communicated with us that are in that position or looking at jumping, to do their own thing full time. And so it's really, really cool, Melissa, that you've been able to do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times when we're talking to maybe some more old school clients, they kind of, when we talk about creating content for them, their first question to us was like, well, how does that improve sales? Yeah. And which is a valid question.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
a business owner, you need to be concerned with how is this going to, help my business, help it grow. So kind of share with us, how have you seen content help your clients and yourself produce sales?
Well, if you look at a sales funnel, like a typical sales funnel, you have 3 stages of what a customer or like a lead will go through. And that is awareness, consideration, and then at the end they make a decision, they become your customer, they convert, right? So content is really your storefront. If you compare it to a brick and mortar place, your storefront, and then that first wall, like glass wall where you have all your display, right, is what your customers are going to use to make a decision into going into your store, like spend that time with you, and eventually make a decision to buy your product or to hire you. So the first thing we need to understand is that our content, it's what is going to get that person from knowing you into converting. And so there needs to be, for me, like there's always needs to be valuable content. Then that's like what's really, like, if you don't have out there content that is irresistible to your customers, content that is valuable to them, content that is going to make them consider yourself, that is going to position yourself as an expert in the industry, people are never going to buy. So really the return on investment is like your content is what your customers are going to see first. So it's what's going to position you. I mean, it's really a key piece of the business, especially when you're online.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that comparison too of it being a storefront, so a brick and mortar business of a display case, like of your best work or your best items or products or whatever that is. No, I completely agree, and it is very top of the funnel. It is very much like, hey, get to know, like, and trust us, right? And walking down that funnel of that, starting at that awareness piece of it, I think that's very important. And obviously the sales and marketing team work together, right? And so that is one of those things that you have to be able to have the marketing in place to attract those clients, become aware of who you are, and then move into that consideration piece. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when we're looking at, we mentioned sales funnel, and our primary audience is a lot of marketing directors and business owners. I think there can be this idea, if I just put content out there, or if I simply exist, the customers will flock to me and all will be well. Great, but it doesn't work like that. So how do you map out a sales funnel that will actually work for your brand or your business?
Well, as I mentioned before, there's 3 stages of a funnel, right? We have the awareness, the consideration, and conversion. When we are creating content, it's not just, we just don't create content for the sake of having something posted or having something out there. There needs to be an intention to each piece of content that you put out there. And it's really, you need to know what the end result is, right? Before you really think about posting anything or creating anything. You need to understand what the end result is. What is the trajectory that you want these customers to take? And then from there, you create and you strategize. And so for me, and what I always work with my clients is 3 layers of content. Usually at the beginning, when we're starting, where people are starting to get to know us, we are going to have a lot of how-to content. And how-to content, I refer to the 5 steps to do this, and you're mostly teaching, but the how-to content is how you're going to position yourself as an expert, and they're really going to start trusting you and trusting your judgment, and that you really know what you're doing and who you are, right? And there's another layer that is hope content, and this is where you're going to help inspire and help this person or this lead believe that they can achieve what it is that you want them to end, at the end have, right? And these are more like inspirational, I did it too, storytelling, that kind of content. And then there's conviction content, which digs more into positioning yourself as a leader in the industry. For example, we have a lot of weight loss coaches out there, right? So a conviction post, for example, can be you believing that crash diets are not the answer to healthy weight loss. It's just an example. And you standing behind your values and helping them understand that you're a leader and you're leading the path, right? You have strong beliefs and values, and you are a leader in that. So this really helps you, and it's like in and of itself like a funnel, because you are not only bringing awareness, you're positioning yourself as an expert, as a leader, and then you're moving them into considering you to be your clients, your customers. So when you're ready to do a conversion event, when you're ready to launch a product, they're going to be waiting in line to get whatever it is that you're going to offer. So that's like the simplest funnel that I can tell you can do, and everybody can implement for their business.
Oh man, that's fantastic. I don't know that I've heard of the hope content.
No.
Or at least not put like that. Like that's great, especially in the sense of moving them through that, even just content funnel of like, hey, that awareness, how to, that hope, and then also the conviction content, which I think is fantastic. I think that's one of those that just talking through. We base a lot of our content structure on 4 pillars, and making sure we hit on those 4 pillars. But I think going into conviction, I have a lot of opinions, right, Loren?
I know.
Okay. So, it is one of the things of being able to say, hey, this is the reason why we believe this. And this is like almost there's some data to back it up as well. And that's why we feel the way we feel about whatever.
And if you think about it, it's not like saying something just to be polarizing, because that's not the idea.
Yeah.
But you kind of feel it when somebody does something, or you see a post in social media, you see somebody saying something, and you feel like inside of you, like, oh, that's not the way to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's where you stand. Like that's where you should be saying out loud. And because that's, the people that are going to align with your values, those are going to be the ones that are going to stick with you. So you really want to, lead them with that.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to look. I mean, even a full content plan. I know that's kind of just at the beginning of it, but that is really something that, I mean, even our listeners can take away and implement in their business today. It's how are we looking at our content? is it, we even talked about it, is it always bringing value? We want to make sure everything that we are posting is bringing value. It's not just, oh, that's a cool picture, or, oh, that was a, nice graphic. It's like, we want to make sure that the value is there, and it can be how to that hope category or that conviction category. That's awesome.
I really enjoy that, just because I think often with content, we get really lost in the algorithms, the platforms, what are they trying to do, and everything like that. But I think it's very interesting to think of the content and think of it, what is your content funnel of just like how it converts. And I think that's very interesting, and a great and strategic way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's something human about it as well. And that's previous friend of the show, Brad Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
His statement is, the most human response wins. And so it's always obviously in like replying to comments, but also just as content, the most human content wins, because that is something you're genuinely showing your heart, or showing, hey, I want to help, or hey, even just being upfront, like, I'd love for you to be my customer. And this is why I think it should be, because we have this authority. We are confident in what we're doing, and we believe we can help you.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys were expecting like a technical answer to this with like because we think about funnels, and this is something like, for me, something that I stand for. Like, we think of the word funnel, and we all already think about some fancy automation that nobody knows how to do, and it's so complex. And like, a funnel is just a way to explain steps that a person is going to take. You know what I mean? It's I just feel like sometimes we overcomplicate things when we can really have like the answer so simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which I love that. I'm not in from a marketing background, and so sometimes or Bryan has been, and so that it's just one of those things that sometimes all those terms that are falling out, and do you have all these things set up and everything, and sometimes it does feel like it is overcomplicated, and not necessarily more of like, what do people actually want to see from you, and so that's a really cool thought process to make it a little bit easier to connect with. I can easily have a connection with your sales funnel. But anyways, what advice would you give to those just starting out with their business, as they're looking at their sales process, or looking at their content strategy, as they're going through? I mean, obviously start doing a sales funnel, but I mean, what advice would you give to them?
I mean, for me, it's just like, start taking action, and planning is key. So just lay out what you really want and reverse engineer. Just like, sometimes we start taking steps and we really don't know what the end result we want. We just do things because other people are doing it, or because this is supposed to be done. My advice is, just look at your end result. Figure out what are the steps that you need to take. What is the gap? Where do I need help? And then go from there and look for that help. Fill those gaps. Just not don't just copy whatever somebody is doing. Just go from that end result and work it backwards.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
I love that. Just take action.
Just take action.
Yeah, just take action. Sometimes, I people overcomplicate things. We just have to take action, and know that failure is gonna come, but just take failure as feedback and keep going.
Yeah,
I read that on my whiteboard.
Yeah, well,
failure is feedback.
Yes.
I like it.
It reminds me of Rev Unit down here. They one of their mottos, that's our friends down the street here locally, and they fail fast and iterate often.
Yeah.
It's like it's like, just get that failure, just move. It's gonna happen. Don't try to prevent failure. It's like, fail fast and then move quickly past it. And so I think that fits right in that vein of, that's the only way we grow. And so, especially somebody starting out, I know you can feel paralyzed by just not being able to really do anything. There's so much I'm supposed to learn. I can't do anything until all these other things are completed. And sometimes it's just get out there, put it out, and see exactly if it's going to work. If it doesn't, great. Now you've learned something, and I think that's great advice.
Yeah, seek help as well. If you don't know something, just figure out where the gap is, where are you needing help, what you need to learn, and then get the help you need. get a business coach, get a course. It's something that will help you, but just map it out first and start taking action.
Love that. Love that. Well, Melissa, where can people find out more about you if they want to work with you, especially in the Latina community as well? Like, is that something that, I mean, we have all kinds of people that listen to our show and refer us and recommend. We'd love to be able to send some people your way. Where can they get in contact with you if they want to even know more about what you're doing, what you're creating?
So they can find me on Instagram. It's at Melissa M. Berrios. And they also can find me online. My website is melissaberrios.net. If you want to read a website in Spanish, that's just the website. If you want content in English, it's the same website, melissaberrios.net /English. And we also have our, for all the Latinas that want to learn more about content creation, online strategies, we have a Facebook group. It's called Virtualmente Libre, and it's in Facebook. They can ask for to be part of the group and request access to it. And we have Facebook Lives every week where we talk about strategies and all kinds of stuff. So it's an amazing community.
Yeah.
They can also look for the podcast as Virtualmente Libre in Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So you can find me there as well.
Yeah. Oh, this is fantastic. Seriously, I've absolutely loved this conversation, Melissa. This has been so great. And I think just even simplifying, again, a very complex process and thinking it's going to be complex, and just being able to simplify it and make it easily attainable. And I think this has been great for a lot of our listeners, even for us. My wheels turning too. I'm like, how can we, kind of simplify even our content strategy end in mind? And we like to, I like to experiment a lot. And I have all kinds of ideas, and it's like, well, what's the main point of this idea, Bryan? We need to make sure that we're doing it the right way, right?
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to ask, what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Well, for Virtualmente Libre, we are actually, we just launched a new coaching program. It's called the Marketing Lab, and it's for all the Latina entrepreneurs that are business owners that want to learn all the online marketing strategies. It's a 6-month program. If they would like, if somebody is interested in joining, we just started it. So they can send me a DM, send me an email, and we'll get them all set up. So I'm also working on creating an e-commerce store for the podcast, so and for the community. So that's a project that it's probably starting over the summer, but it's very exciting. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
That is fantastic. All right. Well, hey, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll have all of everything that we've talked about today in our show notes on our blog at goroyax.com/podcast. So that way you guys we'll link to everything Melissa's doing, as well as all the resources she shared today as well. And so, but again, thank you so much again, Melissa, for joining us today. And until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Thank you.